So now I'm with Kunal Sinha, who's Global Head of Recycling with Glencore. Hi, Kunal.
Hi, Jill. How
Would
are
you like to present the Glencore activities at the Electronics Recycling Conference to us, please?
Yeah, sure. So for those of us who don't know Glencore, we are a global diversified natural resources company. We've been active in end-of-life electronics recycling since the 80s. I think we were one of the first smelters in the world to figure out recovery of metals and precious metals from end-of-life electronics. And where we are now, fast forward 40 plus years, we have recycled about 1 million tons of what we call e-scrap, which is what comes out of e-waste. And so we're very proud of that milestone. It probably means we helped divert 10, 12 million tons of devices from going to a landfill somewhere. So that's where we are now. And we also, related to the recycling space, we also do a lot of battery recycling. We are one of the world's largest recyclers of batteries and battery metals. We have been doing that since the 90s. And the big focus for us as Glencore going forward is how do you take this rich history in recycling and really now apply it more to circularity. So we are doing a lot of work, future-facing, about closing the loop, circular business models, reuse, repurposing, more on the battery side, but also growing meaningfully our recycling business within Glencore.
And is this market-driven? Is this what your clients are now demanding from you, circularity?
I think it's driven by on two fronts. It's definitely market-driven. We supply our metals to a wide range of customers, and then it goes further downstream to others. What we see is all the industries that are very close to consumers, like electronics, fashion, cars, like anything that an average consumer is buying, I think it's no longer okay for them to not have a sustainability strategy or an ESG strategy. It's a right to do business now. And it spans a lot of things, but recycling is definitely a key part of that. So we are seeing a lot of demand from that front, which is all very positive. And then from a macro perspective, if you look at the energy transition and the key metals you need for the energy transition, copper, cobalt, nickel, lithium, there's just not enough. So you will need a lot of primary supply, but we need to massively scale our recycling for these metals to be able to meet that demand. So both from that perspective as well as the consumer perspective, the recycling business has a lot of good tailwinds.
And why do clients particularly come to Glencore, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think when we look at recycling and the role we play, essentially for example, in electronics or end-of-life electronics, there's a few reasons clients come to Glencore. We have global corporate clients. This is more post-industrial scrap. And then we also have clients that are more electronics recyclers that are handling post-consumer scrap. So when you think about the global corporate accounts, so for example, we handle the entire manufacturing scrap for one of the world's largest semiconductor companies. 50 locations worldwide, Glencore manages it all. So there it's about trust, it's about providing a solution globally, and it's about protecting their IP with safe, secure destruction, things like those. When you look at post-consumer, I think if you are a recycler, and why would you do business with Glencore? Because what we do, one very important function we play is we put a value to that stream, right, which allows them to get paid. So there's a rich history that Glencore has in handling this stream. We have expertise, we have a lot of knowledge. So there's a lot of built-up credibility and trust, and I think that's probably the number one reason. And the second reason is flexibility. So we are very flexible, we're very creative, we are able to come up with creative solutions, creative contracts to fit any counterparty's needs. So I think those are a few key reasons people do business with us.
How do you see the market developing globally now? Has it reached full speed yet?
No, it hasn't, and I think if you just look at the amount of e-waste that is collected properly and recycled, we still have a long way to go. The positive news is, the era of circular economy is strongly here, and is no longer a question mark. There's a lot of investment flowing into this space, whether it be in collection, in recycling, in smelting. There's a lot of investments in the capacity. So I think going forward, I hope that there is more that gets collected, more recycled, and definitely there's downstream capacity. We may have a better outcome on the battery side, simply because with EV batteries we are actually starting fresh, and this recognition that there must be recycling is already there from the very beginning. So hopefully we'll achieve a very good level of recyclability on that sector even faster. But on e-scrap, I think the awareness is there, the investment is there. So I think the industry positively has a lot of growth coming.
And finally, why is it important for you to be at IERC?
I think IERC, Glencore's always been a long-standing supporter of IERC. Some of our people have been engaged with IERC for many years. It's just I'm particularly very impressed with the quality of people I've met here. It's just a good venue for like-minded folks to come together. There's good discussions. It's a very good mix of not just an exhibition or industry networking, but some of the topics being discussed are very timely. There's some very future-facing and tough topics being discussed. So there's a lot of intellectual knowledge packed in 1 or 2 days in the Congress. So I think IERC has done a great job sort of rooting for the cause of recycling. It's sort of European focused, but I think I can see here there's a lot of people from Asia here, North America, so it's really global. So it's also very easy to meet a lot of people in a very short span of time. So I think it's a great event, and a big part of the circular economy for this part of the world.
Well, we wish Glencore a great conference. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks for having us.